Hello, this is Dawn. Welcome into Lighthouse Tapestry, and I'm going to be going over a little bit of the astrology for the coming week, and that will be October 19th through the 27th is what we're going to be looking at. The interesting thing is we are just leaving a grand air trine that was with Venus, and we are going to be moving more strongly into a water grand trine. And with that energy, I think we'll be seeing a lot more. Well, Jupiter is going to be part of that. Mars will be part of that. And Saturn will be part of that. So it's very interesting, the energy. What can we do to change the long term? And I'm going to go ahead and show the new moon energy that's going to be happening in Libra, and we can take a look at what some of the other things were as far as what was coming up in the astrology. We did have Venus, like I said, she's on this particular day, this is Tuesday. So earlier in, I would say actually the latter part of last week, we did have a very, very strong grand air trine. We had Uranus, we had Pluto, and we had Venus. Now, it's interesting for me, don't forget that Venus met up with Uranus right before Uranus entered Gemini. She met up with him at 29 degrees. He's going to be going back over that area of the chart. And she is going to be moving further into one of her signs. This is one of her home signs, Libra. She is going to be moving through this energy, and this is about her and relationships. Now, when she was in that grand air trine, she also was making a kite with Neptune. So what dreams do you have for yourself? What can you utilize relationships? I think with other women, I think the idea that we're going to be getting stronger and stronger as we rely on that feminine energy, and we're here to help each other. And I am very surprised by this Pluto and this Uranus trine energy, because we are transforming that energy, and with Venus playing a very strong role in the Uranus in Gemini energy overall, and her in this trine that we're just completing, I think that there is a lot of very innovative ideas that are going to be coming through the divine feminine energy. The actual new moon is happening at 28 degrees of Libra. Libra is very much associated with relationships, and I think we're getting more of that feeling of being in that tribe energy. If you will look, we are healing the wound. We're in an opposition to Chiron over here in Aries. So we are healing the wounds that we've had to ourselves and opening up more and being able to communicate those more. And I think that is where we are showing support for each other. We do have a yod to this new moon energy. And I also want to point out that the new moon is going to be at 28 degrees for the next 5 new moons. And we do have a solar eclipse in Aquarius at 28 degrees right before we have the zero. Oh, actually, it's, yeah, just right before the meeting of Neptune and Saturn at 0 degrees of Aries, the very, very first degree of the zodiac. Now, on October 22nd, we will have Neptune move into Pisces and be at that 29 degree mark. This is really interesting for me, because I feel that that is the very last degree of the zodiac. 29 degrees Pisces is the very last degree. So it doesn't go back any further than that. Neptune only stays at 29 degrees the entire time it's in its retrograde. So I find that very interesting, that that's where it's making its stand. and it is the modern day ruler of that sign. So I think there are going to be big events that are going to be taking place over the next several months. It's the anuretic degree. It's the last degree of the zodiac. Things are ending, and things that should be ending are going to be ending. We do have a lot of comets that are being talked about in the news. And traditionally, comets always were the forecaster of political change, like the king would die, the king is going to die, there's going to be a change in leadership. That very often is what the comets could signify in the skies. It was very much related to how it appeared and where in the sky that it was and what direction it was heading. And we do have this three-eye atlas that is also actually going to be disappearing for a bit. We will not be able to see it because of the sun, and we will not be able to track it at all, and actually get any information on it, because the things that we would use that are in that vicinity are not going to be able to communicate with us until like November. So it's very fascinating that we're going into this time of Scorpio with this unknown kind of energy. So I'm finding this very, interesting, and digging into what the details could be on this. So we do have the grand water trine that is going to be with Jupiter, and the energy of, I'm sorry, I was just to start to here. So this is actually in a trine with Black Moon Lilith and with Saturn. Now, one of the things that's going to be happening is Saturn is going to go all the way back to 25 degrees. It's very interesting that Saturn will retrograde at 2509 of Pisces, and Jupiter will turn retrograde at 2509 of Cancer. They don't do it on the same day, but they are at that 25 degree mark for a while. So they're going to be talking very strongly with each other. And we do have Mercury moving forward. This 20 degrees on this day is actually where Mercury is going to be retrograding back to. When it finishes its retrograde, it's going to go into 6 degrees of Sagittarius and come back to 20 degrees of Scorpio. So I think that there's things that we are not aware of. It will be going back over Black Moon Lilith. So there'll be 3 passes of that. And Mercury talking in conjunction with Black Moon Lilith. Yes, there are things that definitely can come out about that information. So Mars is going to be moving forward and making this grand water trine even stronger, to the point where it's eventually going to be in a trine with Neptune right before it heads into Sagittarius. Don't forget, Mars, it's one of its traditional homes, and it's going to be very, very strong here. It's interesting that Mars, when it leaves this area and going into Sagittarius, is going to be in a sextile with Pluto in Aquarius. So that's interesting energy to look at, and the fact that it'll be very close to Hecate at that time. So I think there's a lot of things that are moving forward for us that are going to be very interesting, especially things we can't see, which is funny that all of that stuff is happening when Scorpio is going to be getting started. So right now, pay attention to the fact that we're at 28 degrees. We have a yod that's forming there, and we do have a very interesting Scorpio new moon coming up. That's going to be a story in and of itself, but this is what's going to be happening not too long before Halloween. And there's going to be a lot of things at the very end of October that we're going to be talking about. We do have a Mars in a trine, of course, with Saturn, but we're going to have Mercury opposite Uranus. So Mercury, when it enters into Sagittarius, is going to be opposite Uranus. And don't forget, it's going to go up to 6 degrees, and then it's going to back over that. So unexpected news that's going to be coming out, and it's going to be things that were hidden, and that's going to be, I think, the energy for the end of October. So just kind of giving you a foreshadowing of that energy, because a lot of times that will start taking place before it actually goes exact. We always generally get some of that like a day or two ahead of time. So I wanted you to be aware of that, because it's definitely energy that we should be feeling before the end of the week. So with that energy, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you coming in. I am also going to be, we are going to be doing a new moon intention setting on Wednesday. It will be at 8 p.m. Eastern. This is where I think is a perfect time to set your intentions for the relationships and actually set boundaries for the relationships. We have been leaving a lot of relationships that just have not been working out, and we're no longer a vibrational match for those people in our that were in our lives. And now we're getting into us finding our tribe. And I think that is energy, because it's going to be at that 28-degree new moon for the next 5 months, that a lot of us are going to be making those new relationships within that time frame and really finding out more about ourselves. So stay tuned to Lighthouse Tapestry, because we have a lot of interesting things that are coming up, and we always want to increase our community, because everyone is welcome here. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you for the new moon ceremony for Libra on Wednesday.